Okay, so let's talk. The Publicist begins to promote her debut novel, and we should point out again, you do not publicize books. You do all manner of arts. But have you ever promoted any author, any book of any kind?
No, I haven't. And so, like with my writing, I mean, I kind of had to learn by not learn by doing exactly, because the one thing you asked me about keeping notes. I have a notebook that I would say right after I signed my contract with Intense Publications, which was last October or November, anyway, last fall, and I started scouring the internet for websites and podcasts and other places that I was seeing authors do publicity. I have a bag full of notes that ultimately get transcribed into this notebook. But that anytime I would see something, I would make a note about it. And so when I put together my publicity plan, it had all these resources that I had already looked into and found, oh yeah, that's something where I'd like to do an interview on that show or that blog or whatever. I knew, from my own publicity work, I knew that, like, for example, in Los Angeles, there were some media outlets, print and otherwise, that were aimed at families and parents with kids. So I knew, and I even knew who to pitch on those. But it's not that complex, when you're looking at a website and there's a contact page, you can figure out who to pitch. But I think the thing that gives me the edge is that I knew that I couldn't just say, hey, I wrote a book, want to interview me? I mean, I knew that wasn't gonna fly. That would clearly say amateur. So I put together a pitch letter that told my story, not my story of being a writer, but the story of, loving this book when I was a kid and wanting to write a book that would make some kid today feel the way I felt about it. I indicated the things that I could discuss during an interview, and I provided all kinds of background about myself, bio, and establishing my credentials as a nonfiction writer. And that's what I would do for a client. I would figure out what I wanted, where I wanted the client's publicity to appear, and I would come up with a pitch letter that was tailored to those media outlets. And sometimes it would be a little different depending on, like, for example, for the children's magazine in Los Angeles that I pitched. I mean, they don't care about what my writer's journey is. So I didn't include stuff like that, but they would be more interested, I think, in the idea of the kid's journey to self-acceptance, that the stories about, like, some kids who find a way to accept themselves. That's what a family magazine would be more interested in, whereas a writer's blog or something that focuses on writers' journeys, obviously that would be much more suitable to them. Where I really would like to advance to, and this is something that I haven't quite gotten to yet, is getting my book into the hands of when they have like 20 books to read this fall, like those kind of media outlets. I'm still learning about those, and I'm still exploring them. And again, just like with my writing, I'm turning to other writers. What was your experience with that? I mean, being an author is like, what, 40% of it, and the other half is keeping in touch with people, what's going on. I got to be in this TikTok video because this writers group that I'm part of posted that a TikTok person was looking for writers to, it was a thing called Pass the Book Challenge, and we all held our books up, and we we caught them and then we dropped them, and each person in the video, would catch the book, or their book, and it was just a cute little, like, I don't know, 1 minute TikTok video. It was my one chance at being an internet sensation. But it was fun, and it was something I just was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? How do where do I set my camera up? But now I know, now I know how to do stuff like that. And every time I do something that, it's like Darby in the story, or all three kids in the story, every time I do something I don't think I can do, but I do it anyway, I learn a lot, and I feel really good about myself.
Well, until you try to do the one thing that turns out you can't do, like swim with the shark, or.
I'm not a swimmer.
I think that's a good last thought to have, honestly. Is, I really thought I could do that.
Well, and like I said, I mean, there are some writers whose books are purchased by the big five. I mean, they have publicists, publicists who are book publicists. So I'm not at that level, and maybe I will be someday, maybe I won't, but meanwhile I can do the best I can for Summer of L.U.K. and let as many people know about it as possible, putting myself out there, like I said, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, all that stuff. Not my comfort zone, but I'm doing it to the extent that I am comfortable with it.
You're being very humble, which I appreciate, but let me assure esteemed audience, as somebody who receives a fair amount of information from various book publicists, I found Laura's package to be extraordinarily insightful, and obviously it worked. I said, yes, absolutely, let's talk. In fact, let's go over a few of the things that came in that. Because you had a press kit that has a summary of the book. You've got a bio just about you. You've got automatically a cover. I'm always, it's not that big of a deal in the internet age, because I could find a copy of your cover out there in the world. But it's always like, hey, would you promote me on your blog, Mr. Ninja? I don't have a cover of the book, just bare minimum. Help me out a little bit. This is a free thing I'm doing. I don't have all night. So we got the cover, we've got a news release, and then we've got a sell sheet. So let's go through each of them. What is that, 5 things? I'm so bad at math.
I have the sell sheet is, again, I learned this from, Intense has a lot of different authors, and the middle grade writers among us have kind of gotten together, and we're sort of sharing information, especially those of the ones who've had their books published sooner. So I learned about a sell sheet from that, and I'd never even heard of it before. But I just, I looked up examples of them, and I created that, and it's got the cover of the book. It's got the blurb, like a 2-paragraph summary of the book. It has, what format is it available in? What are the prices? I have a quote from an endorsement type quote from another author. On that particular sell sheet, the book's available everywhere, but it has the publisher's contact information. And, it's just kind of like an all-in-one piece of information if somebody wants to, it's not like for the public per se, it's for someone who wants to know how to, if someone's writing an article about it, is it available in ebook? Is it available in paperback? Is it available in audiobook or whatever? Summer of Luck's available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. So that's all on there. And it's you know, who's the distributor? Ingram is our distributor. So anything that anybody would need to know if they were either writing about it or if they wanted to stock the book, a bookseller would need, if I was going directly to a bookstore, and if I could go into a bookstore in the you know, this time of COVID and quarantine, that's what I would bring. I would bring that to them, and it would be a, you know, all in one place sort of sell sheet. It would be selling the book basically. So that's one thing. And the press release, you know, basically has the announcement. I did one earlier on that announced that the book was acquired by Intense, but now
a press release at the time of it being acquired.
I did, yes.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and now the one that is in the press kit is that it's available for pre-order when it went up for pre-order. And it is available. I mean, you know, if someone's reading this 6 months into the future, you know, you can get it pretty much anywhere, and you can right now too. But I have I made a connection with a bookstore, my local independent bookstore, and they're doing this pre-order where when I'll have a launch party through them on their Zoom account. And when people order after the launch party, I'll go in and sign all the books, and they'll send, you can have the book personalized however you want it through that bookstore. It's called Children's Book World, just as an aside. So yeah, so the press release has the pre-order information, but it really repeats everything from the first release. The you know, what's the book about, and who is Intense Publications. You know, it has like a paragraph about them. It has a paragraph about me. So that's the press release. And then I also have a bio page, which has, I think 4 or 5 different versions of my bio with different lengths. So if someone needs 2 sentences, there's a 2-sentence bio. If someone needs a long paragraph, there's that. I mean, the point is that you want to make it easy for whoever's using this stuff, so they don't have to do anything. Oh, look, it's right there. I've got it. You know, copy paste, and you're set.
I want you to develop the ability to telepathically communicate with every author in the world, at least all the ones that are going to reach out to me in the future, and let them know that they should do this. And make it easy on the people that want to promote you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, why? This is like rule number 1 of being a good publicist. Make it easy for the journalists. Give them all the information that they need. Don't make them have to, I mean, their job is to write a story or to interview you, you know, whatever. Just make it easy and make it all of it. And more, this, because of this background where more is enough, more is what you want. That's why the first 12 versions of Summer of Luck had way more in it than, you know, than could stay, because that was my training, you know. But trying to think of what else, you know, then as you say, there's an image, a high resolution image of the cover. And then there's a couple of photos of me. And the photo credit, which is also really important, and they're also in you know, they're like variations in size. So if someone needs a web version, there's a lower resolution. If you need it for a print thing, there's the high resolution. So that's really important. And then there's the about page, which is just kind of a compendium of all this stuff. You know, my elevator pitch, you know, the 1-line version, you know, another version that's a little bit longer. And then there's another explanation of the story that's a little longer than that. Just all different levels of those things. And then that's where I put my endorsements, you know, quotes from other writers that have read the book and gave, you know, laudatory endorsements, things I'd use on a book cover, things I use on just anything, just to let people know that, somebody read this book and actually thought it was pretty darn good.
Little social media, little social proof. They like it, you'll like it too. And I want the esteemed audience to note that you were so humble before, talking about, I don't know, I'm just figuring this out. And as we listen to you, we can hear years of work as a successful publicist, training from childhood by two publicist parents. You fooled no one, Laura Stegman. You are fantastic at this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So just out of curiosity, because we talk a lot on this show about queries to agents, queries to publishers, but we don't talk a whole lot about queries to media outlets. So you put together this package. I assume you sent it just to me and said if I could get on Middle Grade Ninja, that's all the publicity I would ever need. But in case I'm mistaken there, how many? Do you have an idea, just ballpark, how many pitches you sent out?
I would say probably 30 and under, but I've been really lucky. I've been batting, whatever the percentage is. I think altogether I've either done or am doing, I think about 15 interviews.
Perfect.
So, yeah, and they're different kinds of interviews, sometimes I have to write the answers, they're Q&As that I write the answers to, and I have to, that's another thing is I can't answer a question, even though a lot of the questions are the same. I can't copy and paste from something I sent someone else, so there's a lot of work involved in that, and being interesting too, not just writing. Well, I was born in New York. I mean, you have no idea how many, you probably do have an idea because you probably get stuff like this, but I work with a lot of musicians in my work, and or actors, and I've always wanted to teach a class on bio writing. You do not start your bio by saying I was born in New York. That's like the most boring thing ever. You want to start your bio with a line or two that gives the big picture,
But if I don't know what specific patch of soil within the country you originate from, how am I supposed to be interested? No, I'm teasing.
Well, you can put it at the end if it even matters. But yeah, I mean, like my bio, all 7 versions or however many there are on my little bio sheet, they all start with Laura Segal Stegman is an arts publicist and author. I haven't got it memorized, and her, her debut novel, Summer of Luck, will be released in September, to be followed by a sequel in 2021. I mean, that's the most important thing that people need to know about me. And then I go off on tangents, like I have this section where, people's bios are whatever makes them interesting. So I thought one of the more interesting things about me was, here are some of my favorite, that my parents instilled in me a love of reading, and here are some of my favorite middle grade books. And then I talk about my nonfiction credits, and then I talk about, my husband and I live in blah, 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 and I love Dodger baseball and classical music and theater. I don't have that much of an interesting life, but those are the most interesting things that other people would care about, bios are important where you pick out, this is just like with writing, you pick out what is the essential information and you write it well, and you have it so that if they only use the first line, they've got the essential information.